It's another South African show, and today we're going to be discussing the initiative by Floyd Shivambu unveiling the Mayibuyi consultation process in a view to launching a new party. And with me to discuss that is Mustafa Jinadu. You guys are welcome to the show.
Welcome, welcome. Okay, yeah. So he wants to start a new party, but and aside from that, we want to get into the gossip. It's clear that what's the name of Zuma's daughter? Well, anyway, Zuma's daughter. Um, These rumors are that she got him kicked out of that party because she didn't like him,
Like him,
and
okay.
because she thought that I forgot what was the insult she gave him, and she said fuck him and all that, and then she had to apologize, but she apologized to Zuma, but she never apologized to him. So it just seems like this a guy is in a lot of he's making a lot of enemies. Zuma's daughter doesn't like him. Probably Zuma doesn't like him. Um, Definitely, Malema probably doesn't like him as much as he used to because he left the party, and now he wants to start his own party. Weeks after he went to go visit a criminal. Well, what's the name of the guy?
Yeah,
Bashiru.
is it Steven Zondo?
No, Bashiru.
Bashiru,
Bashiru, the
okay,
one
okay.
in,
Okay.
in Malawi. So it seems like the guy is all over the place, and he has over the last year or so he's had corruption issues with the VTB bank scandal and everything. So the guy needs to settle down. Now he wants to start another party. If he starts another party, that's just going to separate the movement more and more and make it stronger for ANC and DA to continue controlling it. Because now you have MK. Then if Shivambu starts his, you have his party. Then you have EFF. All of those guys will split votes, and all of them will become more and more powerless. But before we talk about that, give us the details. So, what are his preliminary moves in seeing if he wants to start a party? I know he hasn't decided yet, but he's saying he's feeling it out and he's trying to decide whether he starts his own party. What are the details of that, if you know any?
I think basically he has put up a leadership structure that includes former MK party members, Patrick Sindane, Luther Lebelo, Menzini Magubane, and some EFF members as well. And you also have some people from ANC. So I think what he's trying to do is that it looks like a dissident. Basically, he has left EFF and then MK party issue as well. So he's looking at a party where he can have ultimate control. And you can begin to see that that's what he was trying to do at the EFF. So there's a leadership structure that includes former MK party members, former EFF party members, and former ANC party members. So basically, they are trying to sample the opinion of the populace to see the possibility or the viability of putting up a more inclusive party that will have black interest at heart. I think basically
Yeah, but
that's what they're trying to do.
here's the question: why couldn't he do that at EFF? EFF, as you trying to say, EFF didn't have the black issues, I know what you're saying. Maybe he could find a compromise, people from all those groups. But my thing is that what is his ideology? Because we have to look carefully at this guy. He apparently was corrupt when he was at EFF with Malema, taking money from banking scandal. Then he goes to meet. Are you okay? You seem to be okay. Then he seems to have he goes to EFF, he goes to MK Party, and he goes and visits somebody who was actually has warrants to be detained in South Africa. So the question is, does he really have the best interest of South Africa or his interest? Because why was he going to Malawi to someone who stole money from South Africans and had to leave and they're trying to extradite? So is this about him trying to start a party to help the country, or is it just about him having his own personal power? What do you think? Yeah.
I agree with you, and the guy is a very queer character. In fact, there's another guy, one Bishop Stephen Zondo, who is facing ongoing legal issues on rape. This guy is also a member of the team. So you begin to look at his antecedent, and it's difficult to see where this party is going to go because Shivambu himself is he's draped in controversy from start to finish. He keeps doing very strange things, and I don't see how this is going to
Yeah.
work. If he
No.
succeeds in launching this party, I believe the other parties are just going to mimic some of the party norms and try and dissuade people from joining his party. It looks like someone that's been rejected all over, and he just wants to start a new party on his own. But the kind of people in his team are people that the questionable character, so to speak. This Stephen guy has been convicted for rape and is Stephen Zondo, as it's called, and he's facing charges. So those kind of people, like the guy you mentioned too, you see him flirting with people like that. It doesn't inspire confidence at all that he's a strong leader.
Well, look, to me he lacks character. Number one, with ANC Youth League, him and Malema, they were very disrespectful to Mandela. They were disrespectful to Zuma when they were in the party, and they said we're going to start our own party. Cool. Then they start their own party. They say they stand for the people. They stand for black land, black empowerment. But then meanwhile, we found out that he was stealing money from black people by getting fraudulent loans from banks in which black people were investing their money. Then he had a very big, lavish wedding during that period. So it appears he's using the resources he gained from EFF. Same thing with Malema. These guys have all these lavish things. The only person who's above board is Ndlozi. Ndlozi still has to work for money. It seems like Malema and Shivambu both had their hands in the coffers. Then he leaves. He backstabs Malema by Malema when they were in AFC Youth League said, "Oh, Zuma is terrible. He's corrupt." Then you go back. So what I'm saying is that I'm not saying he's a bad person, but he's showing contradictory behaviors, which makes me not trust him. I'm not saying he's a bad person or he's corrupt, but would you give him your money to hold for you? Would you give Shivambu your money?
No, there's an issue of trust and integrity. Yeah.
Would you give Ndlozi your money?
Yeah, of course,
I would.
absolutely. Ndlozi is more of
I would give my money. I would give my
I
money to
would give my
Steve
money
Newsom.
to
Steve Newsom may be
Ndlozi,
racist.
but certainly not Shivambu.
Yeah.
Shivambu has
I'd
a
even give it to
career
Ramaphosa because Ramaphosa
littered
doesn't need
with
my money.
credibility issues. Shivambu has a career littered with
Yeah.
credibility issues, and he can't be trusted.
Yeah, and then he said that he didn't say that it was Zuma, but he said that Zuma is getting old and people in MK party are siphoning money and mismanaging the money and taking advantage of Zuma. How does he know that? How does he know? Or is he lying? Or how does he know? How does he know about the financial inner workings of MK party? It means he's concerned about money. And the issue between him and Zuma's daughter that I think got very bad. So he's a controversial figure. I'm not saying he's bad. He's controversial. Now he wants to start his own party. He doesn't have the resources to start a party. I don't
He
think he's going to
doesn't.
get funded.
No, I don't think so.
Malema and MK, Malema and Zuma are for himself. I don't think he thinks his party can be a viable option to win any major elections. But if he can get a few people on in parliament, then he can get some gratis. You know, they call gratis the money you get for travel, for this and that. It looks to me that it's a power grab by him. And I think he's a silly person. I don't think he's that evil, but he's very silly and doesn't know what he wants to do. How can you go to Malawi and stand up in a church with someone who frauded people? That use God's name to fraud people in South Africa, and that the South African government is going after you. So I still think that there's something wrong with Shivambu. Not that he's corrupt, but I don't think he thinks things through, and I think he doesn't realize he's a very compromised person. I'll end on that. What do you think? Yeah.
I think the ANC and the EFF, they're going to trivialize this initiative by framing it as a desperate move by a sideline politician to seek relevance after being expelled. That's the way I see it. The opponents of Shivambu, they will see him as fragmenting the liberation movement. And that's the way they're going to look at it. And is exploiting discontent within MK and EFF. So it looks like someone that is desperate.
I think he needs to go to the private sector and stop being a politician.
This has desperation written all over it. Because how
desperate.
Yes, he's desperate. Look at the timeline between when he left EFF and when he had problems in MK. It shows that the guy is not stable.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. All right, so thank you. So we'll head out. So tomorrow I'll see you. I'll send the schedule to you for what we have to do. Take us out of Falabi.
Okay, it's been another wonderful South African show. We've been discussing Floyd Shivambu's new initiative to start a movement with a view of setting up a new party. And from me and Mustafa, we'll be back next time.
Thank you. So what is it? This is number 27 or so, or 28? Yeah.
27.
Okay, thanks. Okay.